So coming into winter time, what are you going to do to keep your aquaponics system warm? And here's the thing, you need to work out, is it just keeping your fish warm, or do you want your plants warm as well? I've got three ideas for you. Three ideas to show you how you can keep some things warm. What do we do? When it comes to winter, everyone's winter is totally different. And I know that having lived in many states in Australia, I've gone from icy, coldy snow areas to subtropical. Every winter is different, and this is why it's important to understand your climate and get fish that are appropriate for your climate. So as an example, if I was in Melbourne, Victoria, cold. So in winter there, perfect for trout. They love the cold weather. But I wouldn't be able to have, say, barramundi, which love subtropical hot climates. You can't balance those out easily without lots and lots of heating or cooling. Getting something that is local to your area, that is used to being here, so that's what we call the indigenous species, so much better. And this information is going to be helpful for whether it's goldfish or your edible fish. Just saying, same type of information. Always make sure that you get fish that are local, because it will mean that they can adapt to that winter. Just saying, it's super duper important. So your tilapia, your catfish, and your silver perch, and tilapia is not allowed in Australia. So if you're having it in Australia, very, very naughty, it's illegal here. These fish can tolerate a wide variety of temperatures, but not all of the temperatures for very long. So you just have to know. But I've got three ideas to show you what you can do when it comes to keeping things warm. Now, my question to you is, are you wanting to just keep the water warm for the fish, which is challenging if you're just wanting to do that, because it's not going to be perfect. The grow beds are always going to be open to the air, so that the temperature is going to change and fluctuate here. Or are you wanting to have it cold? Sorry, are you wanting to warm it up for your veggies as well? Because here's the thing, so I've got some beautiful broccoli happening. It's a cold climate thing, it needs winter. Grows so much better in Melbourne, just, because it's cooler there. I've only got a small growing period for my broccoli, and it needs to be outside, it needs to be in that cold environment. If I do the second one that I'm going to show you, the hothouse, then it won't grow. Okay, it will grow super fast, it'll grow wiry or leggy or long, any of those words. It's not going to get ahead of broccoli on it. It will not grow very well, because if it needs the cold, but I'm wanting to boost up that temperature to keep my fish nice and healthy, it's not going to work. See, you kind of got to have that balance, is to understand some of your cold water or cold climate veggies, they kind of need to be out in the cold weather. So I've got three options to show you, and let's do that. I think this is a good idea, let's just get into it, eh? Check out the description to find some more information about aquaponics and how you can move forward and get this happening. Oh yeah. So another option, and this is what most people do actually end up doing, is making some form of solar hot water pump. And what you need is a black drum. You can either just paint it black, if you don't have one, and you want black hosing, the irrigation hose, and you're going to wrap the black hosing, and I'll bring this closer. I'm going to wrap the black hosing around the drum. What happens as soon as this gets hot, and you want to make sure it's nice and tight, but as soon as the drum gets hot, the pipe gets hot. And you want to make sure, obviously, it can get good sunlight, okay? But here's the thing. To make this work really well, you're wanting to connect it up to a solar water pump, okay? Super cheap, like 30 bucks I think it is. But here's the thing. You want to make sure that however much of this irrigation, and that's what it is, it's the irrigation piping that's going to go around your drum, the more you wind it around, the more it's going to heat up your water, okay? So that's a huge bonus. But the more you wind it around is the bigger the hose is going to be, and that means you're going to need a stronger water pump, because the amount of distance that the water has to be pushed, generally it goes upwards. So that's what we call a head height when it comes to a water pump. What is the head height of a water pump? Which could be, 50 centimeters, 1 meter, 2 meters, whatever. When it comes to having a solar heater, you're wanting to make sure, as I said, you've got lots of black irrigation hosing going around your drum. But as the water has to be pumped from the fish tank all the way around all of that hosing that's going around your drum and then back into the fish tank, that's your head height. So it's going to cost you a bit more on your solar pump to heat your water. But here's the thing, it's not going to cost you money on with the electricity because it's solar. Awesome. It's not going to work at night because there's no solar. It's not going to work in rain and stormy weather. So for me, for instance, doing this as a Melbourne setup in Victoria, it's a temperate climate, it's very cold, and in winter it's very overcast, very cloudy. Same thing, but different words people get confused with. Lots and lots of rain. So me setting up a solar hot water system like this, a solar heater, I'm not going to get enough sunlight to keep my fish warmer and to really make a huge difference. But doing that in a subtropical area where there are less cloudy days and it's still sunny days, even though it's just not quite as warm, this makes a lot more sense. So this is another very common option, and it's simple as wrapping the hose, black hose, around a black drum. And as I said, you can paint the drum black using an irrigation hosing. Super, super simple and easy. Get yourself a solar pump. And as I said, they can go from $30, but you do have to make sure that you take into account the head height. Now this is going to be running separately to your normal filtration. So your normal filter pump will be running 24 hours a day, should be. Your solar pump to heat the water is only going to be going during the daylight hours. And hopefully that'll still keep the water warmer at night. It's only going to work for part of the time though, it's not a permanent solution. It's not going to keep the water hot all night. But hopefully by the time it cools down, it'll start to kick on again. That's the thing, you've just got to balance it up. I think you're going to know if the solar's going to work. One end of the hose, it's super simple. One end is pumping the water from your fish tank, round and round the hose, around the drum. The other end of the hose goes back into the fish tank. Super, super simple. Hothouse. It ain't pretty. It's in my backyard. But you know what? It actually increases my water temperature from a minimum of 10 degrees and sometimes hotter. So I've been, because I've got a laser thermometer so I can test the water as well as the air. And during the day, it definitely gets an awful lot hotter than 10 degrees difference. But at night, it's fairly consistently 10 degrees different. I have the hothouse material on the roof and all four sides. It's not perfect. As I said, it's not pretty. It's not sealed up in the sense of rats can still get in there. Around my very messy yard, they can still get in there. It's not perfect, but it will help, and it does help. But here's the thing, as soon as I put, say, my broccoli, for instance, or coriander, so your cilantro, into this hothouse area, and it boosts up that temperature by 10 degrees, it won't grow well, because the plant itself is going, hey, the temperature's warmer, it must be coming into spring, I'm going to grow super fast, and get, as we call it, that leggy look. So if you're putting things in a hothouse over winter, just do keep in mind that it's great for your pests, except for the rats. The rats love it. But it's great at keeping the cabbage moth out, but it will limit what you can grow in there. But it can work. As soon as winter's over and it starts to warm up, I roll up the sides and keep them on the top of the roof so that I've got the air that can then go through. Being in a subtropical area, the humidity up here is terrible, but I do get severe storms, so I like to be able to put everything down if I need to. But that's me where I live, so I've adapted on this front. But a hothouse is one way, and if you DIY it, it's really not that expensive. People think it's super expensive. This is not expensive. Okay, so having a look over here, so we are inside the hothouse, and you can see what I've done is I've insulated the fish tank. Actually, this has polystyrene under it, so just some polystyrene lids. That's why you can see how it's bent. And then I've wrapped it with the bubble wrap. That is bubble wrap is an amazing insulator. People really don't get that, but it's super fantastic as an insulator. I actually pop the clear version on my windows to help keep the house warmer. But anywhere where I've been able to, so on my solid separator, I've also insulated here. But when we come to my sump, it's very hard to insulate this. I mean, yeah, sure, I've got the polystyrene on here, but all of this area is exposed as the water comes through. It's exposed to the air, so it's going to get colder. So insulation, while it's helpful, and it's helpful in the bigger tank, it's not a foolproof solution, but it does help. Now I can also be popping polystyrene on top here, on top of my lid, which I will be doing. I have it in the garage to pop on in the next few days. That will stop any of the hot air coming out. But as we move over into the grow bed, and you'll see that I've only just started replanting everything, all of that area is exposed. So any warmth that was in the water is going to escape here. So you can actually see the dew all the way along here from the hothouse. Actually, well, I can see it. I don't think the camera can pick it up. It's pretty cool. So a mixture of all three, having the insulation around the tank and on top, having the hothouse up, and if I put that solar hot water on, that solar pump that I'm showing you, or I'm about to show you, this would be fantastic. But at the moment I don't have that solar pump up, and when I do, it'll keep the water difference. But the water temperature, when I check it, it's always a minimum of 10 degrees warmer in this bloody hot hothouse. So it does work.